So, Holosun is an interesting brand. They're both loved and loathed at the same time. They're pioneers in the space, with their 507C initially coming in with a solar failsafe and a multi-reticle system at a price point about 3/4 of what an RMR was selling for at the time. But the early ones kinda stunk. They got that sorted out really quickly, and within a shipment, the sights were really reliable and became the standard on people not wanting to spend RMR money's pistols. Fast forward and they introduced the 509T, a different take on an enclosed emitter optic, and in my opinion it was the best of the first generation enclosed emitter optics. The only downside is that it has a Picatinny style mount similar to what the Acro has, meaning that the dot generally isn't sunk that far down into the slide when mounted on a pistol. The Holosun brand is loved because their products are feature rich and they're sold at a fair and reasonable price with really high quality. They're kind of loathed because they're manufactured in China. I can't mention Holosun without a bunch of comments reminding me where the sights are made. Regardless of origin, the EPS is one of the best pistol sights going, and it sells for less than what an old RMR sells for. The Holosun EPS is a second generation of enclosed sights, and it's on the RMSC footprint and comes with an adapter for an RMR footprint optic. I had it mounted on the AREX Delta Tactical, and I liked it so much that I swapped it onto one of my major carry guns, the Bull Armory UL. The reason I like it so much is the EPS is a significant step forward. The Holosun lenses on the 407 and 507 series are what's called Mangan lenses, which means that they have a good bit of distortion or fisheye effect around the edges. The EPS is a spherical lens, which means that what you look at through the lens comes across as super crisp and super clear with no distortion. You're gonna think you're okay with that little bit of distortion, but when you get used to shooting without it and you come back to it, it is definitely an adjustment. It's very noticeable when shooting at distance. The footprint of the dot for an enclosed emitter sight is more similar to that of an open reflex versus the stupid mailbox variety. This is nice for concealment because it keeps the bulk of the optic down towards your belt line, so there's slightly less printing. The window offered on the EPS is pretty large, closer to that of a 507 type window. The glass that Holosun uses and their notch filter doesn't discolor the world so much. I mean, it's not as blue or green as something like Trijicon or SIG uses. More importantly, this is one of the first dots that Holosun is offering with a 6 MOA reticle. The Holosuns are usually 2 MOA and Team Small Dot. The fact they're getting into reticles more suitable to performance pistol shooting is awesome and should be encouraged. But more important than that, this reticle looks much cleaner to my eyes than the older gen dots, and I'm really not sure why. I did a video not too long ago taking 14 different dots to the range and studying how they appeared to my eyes, which I have a mild astigmatism. The EPS was one of the best looking and cleanest dots, and I don't fully understand why, but it's great. I really like how it looks. It looks fantastic. Another feature which is amazing about the EPS is that the deck height is super low, which means that it sinks the reticle really close down to where the iron sights would naturally occur on a non-dot pistol. Meaning if you use co-witness sights, you don't have to use the mega tall ones, and that's pretty nice. Shooting with the dot closer to the borderline is just much nicer. It's easier to find the dot for whatever reason, and there is less mechanical offset when you're shooting at close range targets. The dot is absent of a solar backup, which Holosun is known for, and I think where they developed their name from, and it's fueled by a single CR1632 battery with a stated battery life of about 50,000 hours and 10 daylight settings and 2 night vision settings. But what that really means is there's probably 4 or so usable daylight settings, and then the night vision settings if you want to LARP. Now that Trijicon, and a good bit after the EPS has dropped, finally answered with their RCR, that's selling for over 60% more at about $645. Sig Sauer has an answer to the EPS, and currently that's in the form of the Romeo M17. But the problem with that is it's an $800 sight, and it takes a proprietary slide cut that is difficult to find on a pistol that's not a P320, and it's selling for 100% more. Meanwhile, at the time I filmed this, the EPS Red 6 is selling on Optics Planet for just $330. Love them or hate them, the EPS 6 has all the features you want at a price that's really hard to ignore. Sound off in the comments with your take on the Holosun products. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.